All right, Lawrence, we're gonna start in five, four, three, two, one.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Victory Lane. We're going to continue the reading of the book Three Pennies, page 153. We sat down and began to eat our dinner, baked ham with lima beans and steamed potatoes, bread, milk, and juice. Hey, Head, I hear what you're saying about that little welfare money. I hear people down here complaining all the time saying it's not enough and all that crap. But like I said, something is better than nothing. Me, I don't have to worry about it because I get my Social Security check and it's a lot more than $375 a month. I don't know how these people survive with that little amount of money. Exactly. Now you know what I'm talking about. There's no way I can really make it with that little amount of money, not with my kids and my wife. Don't look like you got a wife, but you sure got your kids to think of. Yeah, you're right. So what you gonna do? Something. I know you're not about to rob somebody, are you? Nah, I ain't gonna do nothing like that. Now, that was easy for us back in the day, but now we're a lot older. And me, myself, I ain't going back to the penitentiary. Back in the day, Dirk, it would have been our famous words. Yeah, we made a lot of money on those words. Man, those words made a person freeze. Those words made a person have a bowel movement. Ain't it something how much power there are in words? Never knew that we did. Yeah, we knew that's why we said it. Lawrence, you think you'll ever use those words again? I hope not, but if I absolutely had to, I believe I would. Yeah, I believe you would too. Yeah, but I don't have to use those words. I got skills. Me, myself, I know that I'm never going to use those words ever again in life. We kind of looked at each other and smiled and said at the same time the words that made life worth living at that time: your money or your life. Those words got us many a free ticket riding along life. Those words got us trips to jail. Those words cost us the breakup of our family. And those words can cost the ultimate sacrifice. Like Carl, who had everything going for himself: a high school graduate, a career in the nursing field. He had a new car, a new apartment. He was the essence of our example of living life and what we wanted to be. But something happened along the way. He got strung out on heroin so bad that he lost everything. And those words also cost him his life. We all ran in the same circle, doing crimes and getting away until we realized that the penitentiary was waiting for us if we continued to live the way we live, robbing and stealing. Carl went a little bit too far along the way. I remember giving him a ride as I was going to work downtown in the financial district. Jobs were aplenty back then. His Jones, his habit, was coming down and he needed a fix. I dropped him off and he walked the streets looking for a victim. And little did he know he would be the victim of his own circumstance. He walked into an alley, pulled out his gun to rob a man in the alley: your money or your life. The man in the alley had a bigger gun, a 357 Magnum. He shot Carl 4 times, killing him instantly. The man in the alley was an off-duty plainclothes cop. Words can cost you your life. Dirk says to me, Head, I've been doing some thinking since you came down in the Tenderloin. I mean, about your book. Dirk, you seem to have more interest in my book than I do. No, it ain't nothing like that. I just want to see it in print. Yeah, I do too. Well, anyway, I think they have a program at the library that helps you get your book published when it's finished. That's good. I'm going to need all the help I can get. I don't even know where to begin. Well, it can't be that hard. I see all these books on the shelves and all the stores and whatnot, so it can't be that hard. It's just finding the right people to promote and move your product. You know, like we used to sell dope. I might have sold a little bit, but I wasn't too much of a dope dealer. Neither were you. Yeah, here we can never really be dope dealers because we were our own best customers. We both laughed, and I said, "Yeah, you're right about that." We beat and smoked it up, all the dope, spent the little money of profit that we did make back on buying some more dope to smoke. Why do you think they call it dope? Dope. Yeah, we were real dopes and sometimes still are. Yeah, but you know what, Lawrence? What? We got experience. Experience? What you talking about? I mean, we know all about it and how it messes you up. And with that knowledge, we can help people. That's why your book is going to be it's going to be good, ain't it? Yeah, it is. I mean, how many people get got your experience with dope and are writing a book? None that I know of. Yeah, don't mean don't mean it ain't out there. Well, but your experience is unique, and that's why your book is going to be good. What's the name of it anyway? I don't know. You got to have a title. Yeah, right now it's called SOS. SOS? What? That's an emergency code or something like that, ain't it? Yeah, it's called Morse code, signals that the military used to talk to each other in case of an emergency. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. What that got to do with the T in China? Nothing at all. It's just a title, an abbreviation. What? Abbreviation for my book title. SOS. Stuck on Stupid. That's a good title because there's a whole lot of folks stuck on this crap. As a matter of fact, you should change that title to Stuck on Crap. Nah, Dirk, that ain't gonna work. He laughed and said, "Yeah, I know that won't work, but it sure sounds good because that is exactly what we've been doing. We've been stuck on crap. I don't know about the title yet, but one thing I do know, and that is that I got to finish it. You got that right, because I want to read it, and I can't even read. I should have went to those classes while I was in school instead of cutting all the time. I guess I have to have someone read it to me when you finish writing it. I guess so. Anyway, hurry up and finish it. It's almost done. What you doing when you leave here? I gotta go and park my cart so nobody can steal it. Where do you go and park your cart? It's a pretty good walk from here, but it's something I got to do. Why is that? These people will steal your cart and everything you have in it. So I take it down to my spot and leave it there while I do my thing during the day. And then I go to get it for the night. But I got a few things to do tomorrow, so I'm going to park it there for the night. You do that every day? Yeah, just about. I can't leave it in the place where I keep it stashed. I can't because someone will eventually find it and they'll take it. But where I keep it, not too many people be walking in that area. So what you gonna do tonight? I don't know, Dirk. I used up all my visits at Otis' apartment and I don't know what I'm going to do. Ride the bus, go to the shelter, or walk the streets. You can always come out on the streets and go to sleep on this cement bed. I told you, I ain't sleeping outside. Lawrence, you'll never experience being homeless until you do. Well, that's something that I am not going to do. What? You think you're too good to sleep on the outside? That's what it is. I figured it out. You ain't figured out nothing. Yes, I have. You think you're too good to sleep on the streets. Well, you know, Dirk, I never thought of it like that, but maybe you might be right. I mean, in the back of my mind, I never gave it a second thought about me, about my reasoning for not sleeping on the streets, but I can see your point. Ain't no point. You either do it or you don't do it. Either way, you want to put it. But as far as your case is concerned, wanting to write a book about homeless, you got to live the life completely. And if you don't, then you just gonna limit yourself in what you can write because if you haven't experienced it, then you can't write about it. Just like the crack book, you experienced that already, and that's why you can write about it. but you're not going to be able to write about being homeless until you live the life of being homeless. That's the bottom line. Now, you can believe it if you want to, or you don't even have to. You can write that book and pretend you've been homeless, but you will know that deep inside your heart, you did not live the life of being homeless. Lawrence, is plain and simple. You can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself. You say what you want to say, but you know I'm telling the truth. Let's take a walk down the streets and go and drop off my shopping cart. Okay, I'm not doing anything else. We walked in a brisk fashion. I forgot that Dirk and his two brothers, Jack and Mac, always walked fast, even when we were kids. We walked fast all the time, rather, most of the time, because we were late going to school or we were walking fast to get to our destination to go and do wrong. Now, when we would get there, we would take our time and then we would start all over again, walking fast to go do wrong. I thought about Mac not being here with us anymore as we traveled through the streets of the cement jungle, moving away from the predators to a less dense population of people. He was murdered, shot, and killed many years ago, and it was something that we never talked about. I guess it was best, after all this time, 25 years, to let sleeping dogs lay. Don't mess with the dog while it sleeps, for if you do, you just might get bit. So I didn't bring it up. Instead, I asked, how much further we got to walk before we get to this place where you park your car? It's just a few more blocks, and then we walk down by the railroad tracks. Railroad tracks? I told you I have to make sure I put it in a safe place. Okay, but how safe is safe? Ain't nobody stole it yet. We finally got to the place where he would leave his cart. It seemed to be a whole new world from where we had left in the Tenderloin. We were now in the South of Market Amtrak district where the commuter trains come in and out carrying commuters, aliens, servicing San Francisco. He found a place near one of the many warehouses that were no longer in use when the train depot was under the management company of the Southern Pacific Railroad. It was a very populated area at the time, but now it was just empty, worn out, depleted storage units that probably had no use for anyone. He parked his cart near one of the doors of the warehouse and covered it up with all kinds of debris so that it just looked like a pile of garbage. Then we left and went back up to the Tenderloin. As we walked, our conversation shifted to our lives as we were living in the presence of the moment. So here, what you gonna do? About what? About your situation? Well, I've been thinking, I'm gonna try and get my family back, my wife and the kids. Lawrence, I gotta tell you something. You may not like it, but I need to tell you that you need to face the fact that you may not get your wife back. Yeah, I know. I thought about that too. I mean, you always will have your kids, and to tell you the truth, you might one day get another woman, but I think you need to concentrate on getting yourself together and moving on. Moving on? That's a hard thing to do, Dirk. Yeah, I know it's hard, but you can't stay in the position that you're in, or else you'll sink like a drowning man in quicksand. And the more you struggle trying to come up and out of it, the deeper you sink. You need to stop sinking and start reaching. I like that. Yeah, it sounds good. But yeah, I know. It's easier said than done. Anyway, which way you going? Gotta go up. That's what I'm talking about. You got too much on the ball to stay in this mess. Yeah, I know. Well, do something about it. I am. When? Soon. I sure hope so because if you don't, you're gonna mess around here and get trapped here in this jungle and you won't find your way out. I mean, it's easy to do. It's easy to get comfortable and just don't give a care about this life. You see it every day. All you have to do is look around you and you see it. I know you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Dirk, I do. And I'm gonna make a change real soon. What about you? What you gonna do? Ah, I'm set. I got my social security, my social worker looking for me, low income apartment where I don't have to pay that much rent, maybe about $200 a month. He had a place for me up there on 6th Street, but I didn't want to move there. Ain't nothing but drug addicts and alcoholics living in there. And I'm doing bad enough with that stuff by myself without having any influence around me. So I told him to find me something else. He said that they got some new apartments being built right up the street from there with good security, and it ain't gonna be no riffraff. So I told him to get me fixed up into one of those apartments. I think they're supposed to be ready in about a couple of months. In the meantime, I'm just gonna live on these streets. I feel a little bit safer on the streets than I do living in a shelter. Sounds like a pretty good plan you got, Dirk. Yeah, I think so too. But you got to finish that book. Yeah, that's my mission, to finish the book about crack and then start writing the other book about being homeless. Yeah, like I said. Yeah, I know. I'm not homeless until I come and sleep on the brick. You got that right. Whatever. What you gonna do now? Nothing. I mean, where is it? What is there to do? I'm gonna go up here and sit down at Fifth and Market and just watch the people go by. It's a pretty good sight to just sit back and relax and check out things. And plus, a lot of people from the den pass by. Just sit back and watch people. Well, Lawrence, if you got something better to do, then you let me know. You don't have to get no attitude about it, and you don't have to think that it's stupid to do. I didn't say it was. I know, but I can tell by your facial expressions that that is what you were thinking. Negro, you can't tell what I'm thinking. Negro, I can read you like a book. Is that right? That's right. What chapter? What page? Chapter 11, page 32. Is that right? Yeah, you know the line. What line? You full of it. Oh, that one. That's the one you're reading? That's exactly what I'm reading. You can't even read. Well, I can read a person's face, and that is exactly what you are saying. We laughed a bit, and it was good to break the monotony and the seriousness of living in the streets. Sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, and I needed to laugh before I started to cry a river of tears. I was hurting so bad within my soul, and nothing could remedy me from the pain. I mean, I get a drink and I want to drink some more. I get a hit of crack and I want another hit and some more, trying to cover up, trying to run, trying to hide, trying anything not to face the reality of life, enveloping myself with the substitution of chemical dependency. One day, it will have to stop before I end up dead. Page 161. There is no God in the cement bed. Dirk asked me if I wanted to go to church. I said, "What? Let me get this straight. The man who does not believe in God is asking me if I want to go to church. Yeah, do you want to go to church? Where and when? Up on 6th Street. The service starts at 7 p.m. Are you serious? Yeah. Now, if you want to go, we need to get started because it's about 6:40 and they close the door at 7 exactly. There must be something else to it, Dirk. What is it? It's a church. Now, do you want to go? Listening to how you talk about God and you talking about going to church? Okay, here, check this out. We go up in there and listen to the preacher give his spiel, his sermon. Then at the end of the sermon, they give everybody in the church a bag lunch. You get 2 sandwiches, a piece of fruit, and some juice. It makes good for a good night snack. I mean, you know what I mean? When we used to wake up and go to the cabinet or the refrigerator to get something to eat, well, this little old bag lunch is my midnight snack. What about the message from the preacher? Oh, he always give a good message, but I'm not interested in the message. I just want the food. That's it. Heck, yeah, that's it. I don't give a hoot about God, heaven or hell. If I'm going to hell after I die, well, guess what? I'm going to see a whole lot of people there I know. Might even see you down there. Nah, you ain't going to see me because I ain't going. Whatever. I ain't got no time to talk about God, the devil, heaven, and hell. Let's go get this food. Okay. When we finally got there, it was 6:55. They had an usher at the door to sit us down. It was a small storefront church with a skylight blue painting on the outside. And as we entered the building, there was about 40 steel chairs for us to sit in. The congregants came together in silence, some from the alleys, the highways, and the byways of life, faces torn with the realities of living life in the streets, hard and rough, faces torn with the realities of living life in the street, mental breakdowns of depression and oppression, schizophrenia of some who were talking to themselves and answering at the same time. They were all mostly men, maybe two or three women. We all sat there waiting for the man of God, to make his grand entrance, while I'm sure that most of them were waiting for the moment to get one of those bag lunches that was sitting on the table in front of the church. Finally, he stood up. It surprised me that he too was one of us, just sitting in the chairs. You would have never known that he was a preacher. I couldn't pick him out of the crowd if I had to. He was dressed as a normal guy sitting in church. His hair was brown with a normal length. His He wore jeans, a shirt, and a sport coat. His smile was genuine as he began to speak in a mild mannered voice. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Jesus loves you. Dirk put out a hollow grunt that probably I only heard. I just looked at him for a brief moment and said nothing. Tonight we want to talk about suffering. Sounds good to me. Heck, I've been doing a lot of suffering since I've been in these streets. Suffering is a painful experience that we do not like to face. Suffering is something that we do not want to go through, and yet we do. Suffering does not seem fair to anyone who is suffering. He continued as we sat in silence, waiting for service to end, looking at those bags on the table. Did you know that in this life we will suffer many things? It is only a natural part of life, but the question is why? Why do I suffer? We all sat there mystified, waiting for the answer. It was as if he was about to tell us and give us the magic formula that would bring us out of our suffering. He was about to free us from the bondage that was holding many of us down. He was about to give the word or the words that would alleviate our problem, our circumstance, and our situation. We could not wait to hear the solution. Even Dirk, who did not believe in God, had a distinct look of interest in finding out about why we are suffering. Because once we find out, then we will be able to do something about it. Heck, maybe all we have to do is just snap our fingers and then something incredible would happen. Maybe all we have to do is follow his instructions and then suffering will be over. You know, like putting a bicycle together. First the frame, screw on the tires, add the chain, then the handlebars, and then the pedals. Shazam, we ready to ride. Maybe after following the instruction he was about to give us, Shazam, no more suffering. It will all be over. Just like that. Maybe he has the answer. After all, he is the preacher, the man of God. And the man of God, as I had learned all my life, always has an answer. After all, he is God's mouthpiece. But that is not what we got. The reason why we suffer is that we are partakers of Christ's suffering. He suffered real bad, as many of you are suffering today. And he suffered to let you know that one day you will not have to suffer no more. One day you will be joined with him in heaven, and your days of suffering will be over if you let him into your life right now. He will make it easier for you to go through your suffering while here on earth. Christ suffered and died for your sins and my sins on the cross so that we can be joined with him in heaven. And that is why we suffer. But the reasoning part is that the reassuring part is that if you let Jesus in, he will help you and help you to make it through. Will there be anyone here tonight who will let Jesus come into their life and into your heart so that you will not have to suffer by yourself because you have Jesus who will be there for you as you live day by day? Please raise your hand if you are tired of suffering and you want Jesus to help you. If you want to receive him into your life, please raise your hand. Quite a few people raise their hands as you continue extending the invitation to Jesus into our hearts. More people hands started to raise, and surprisingly, of all the hands raised, one was Dirk's. My heart felt overjoyed, and tears came to my eyes to see Dirk accepting Jesus Christ into his heart. The preacher prayed for all those who had their hands lifted, and then we all received our bags as we passed by the preacher, shaking his hand and thanking him and the church for their kindness. I said, "Whoa, Dirk, that's good that you accepted Jesus into your heart tonight." He said, "Lawrence, I don't want to suffer. I don't like the suffering." And I thought by me raising my hand that something would happen so that I would not have to suffer. But I'm in the same place I was in that I'm in right now after leaving the service. So don't give me that bull that Jesus is going to make me free from my suffering. I was hoping, I was really hoping that something would happen, Lawrence, but nothing did. And frankly, I don't believe in Jesus, God or the devil. Man, Dirk, all you got to do is look around and you can see that none of this stuff wouldn't be if there was no God. I mean, who makes the wind blow? Who makes the sun shine? Who makes the moon and the stars glow? Lawrence, I don't believe that it's just, I don't believe that. It's just the force of nature. Things have always been the way they are, and they will always be the way they are. And besides, I done called on this God a whole lot of times, and he ain't heard me yet. Dirk, you need to be cool talking about God like that. I don't care. There is no God. And I'm not afraid of God if there is a God. What can he do to me that he haven't done to me? I'm suffering right now. And do you think he gives a care? You're suffering too. And I don't see him doing nothing for you. Thank you. Tune in next week and we will continue the reading of Three Pennies, page 163. God bless you. God keep you.